Looking for magic cards? At flipsidegaming.com you can now use the promo code LVD to get a 10% discount on orders over $10 while supporting the channel at the same time. Hello and welcome to another episode of Wacky Wednesday, a weekly series where I explore wacky deck ideas in both Standard and Modern, and this week we're taking a look at Liliana's Contract in Standard, a blue-black combo deck featuring Liliana's Contract, a 5-mana enchantment that when it enters a battlefield we get to draw 4 cards and lose 4 life. And at the beginning of our upkeep, if we control 4 or more demon creatures with different names, we win the game. So the goal of the deck is to win the game with Liliana's Contract. But if you actually look at the deck list, you'll notice that there's no demons in the deck. So how are we going to win with Liliana's Contract if we don't play any demons? Well, there's this 3-mana enchantment called Arcane Adaptation that when it enters the battlefield, you get to choose a creature type, and creatures we control are the chosen type in addition to their other types. So we can just name Demon with Arcane Adaptation, and as long as we have 4 or more creatures with different names in play, along with Arcane Adaptation and Liliana's Contract, at the beginning of our upkeep, we will win the game. So that's the goal of the deck. So besides 4 copies of Liliana's Contract and 4 copies of Arcane Adaptation, the rest of the deck is just a collection of creatures. All the creatures in the main deck are 2-ofs, that way we avoid a situation where we have too many creatures with the same name in play and won't be able to win with Liliana's Contract because of that. And a lot of the creatures in the deck also help us filter or draw more cards, and kind of help us look for the missing combo pieces, which is very useful. So let's take a look at the entire deck list, starting out with our 2-drops, where we have 2 copies of Dusk Legion Zealot, 2-mana 1/1 creature. When it enters the battlefield, we lose 1 life and draw 1 card, so helps us dig 1 card deeper into our deck. Then we also have 2 copies of Omenspeaker, 2-mana 1/3. When she enters the battlefield, we get to scry 2, so we can put any unnecessary cards on the bottom and look for the missing pieces, whether that's more creatures or whether that's one of the 2 enchantments. Then we also have 2 copies of Kitesail Freebooter to have a little bit of disruption in the main deck, 2 mana for a 1/2 flyer that gets to take a look at the opponent's hand and then take a non-creature, non-land card from it until the Kitesail Freebooter leaves the battlefield. Then we have 2 copies of Aether Swooper, a 2-mana 1/2 with flying. When the Aether Swooper enters the battlefield, we get 2 energy, and when the Swooper attacks, we can spend 2 energy to make a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. So Aether Swooper helps us out with the Liliana's Contract by providing 2 bodies for just 2 mana essentially. And the energy can also be useful with some of the other cards in our deck. And speaking of energy, we have 2 copies of Glint-Sleeve Siphoner, 2-mana 2/1 with Menace. When the Siphoner enters the battlefield or attacks, we get 1 energy, and at the beginning of our upkeep we can spend 2 energy and 1 life to draw a card, so another card draw engine in creature form. And then we also have 2 copies of Seekers Squire, 2-mana 1/2. When the Squire enters the battlefield, we get to explore. So if the top card is a land, we get to put it into our hand. If it's a non-land card, we get to decide whether to keep it on top of our deck or put it in the graveyard. And in that case, the Squire also gets a +1/+1 counter. Then moving on to our 3-drops, we have 2 copies of Aviation Pioneer, a 3-mana 1/2 that makes a 1/1 flying Thopter token. So another creature that provides 2 bodies for the Liliana's Contract. We also have 2 copies of Champion of Wits, which provides a lot of card filtering. As a 3-mana 2/1, when it enters the battlefield, we essentially get to draw 2 cards and then discard 2 cards. And then at 7 mana, we can eternalize it from the graveyard to draw 4 cards and then discard 2 cards. Then we also have 2 copies of Skyscanner, a 3-mana 1/1 flyer that draws a card when it enters the battlefield, along with 2 copies of Trophy Mage, which is a 3-mana 2/2, and when it enters the battlefield we get to search our library for an artifact card with convert mana cost 3 and put it into our hand. So this can not only find us more Skyscanners if we just want to chain a bunch of creatures and some card draw together, but we can also find a one-off main deck copy of Aethersphere Harvester, along with another copy in the sideboard as a 3-mana vehicle. That's a 3/5 flyer. The crew cost is only 1, so we can crew it with any creature in our deck, and when the Harvester enters the battlefield we also gain 2 energy, and we can spend 1 energy to give the Harvester lifelink until end of turn. And the life gain can definitely be useful since a lot of the card draw in the deck does cost us life. Liliana's Contract costs 4 life, Dusk Legion Zealot and Glint-Sleeve Siphoner also cost 1 life when we draw cards, so having a little bit of life gain in the main deck is useful. And then we have the second copy in the sideboard in case we're facing an aggressive deck. And then we have the 4 copies of Arcane Adaptation, which in this deck is always going to name Demon. We don't have any other fancy combos with the Arcane Adaptation. Then moving on to our 4-drops, we have some removal in creature form, 2 copies of Ravenous Chupacabra, which can destroy an opposing creature, and 2 copies of Hostage Taker, which can steal an opposing artifact or creature, and we get to cast it as long as it's exiled. And of course, if they can deal with Hostage Taker, they get their card back if it's still exiled. And then 2 copies of Riverwise Augur as a 4-mana 2/2 that lets us brainstorm when it enters the battlefield, so we get to draw 3 cards and then put 2 cards from our hand back on top of our deck. And we do have some neat synergies with the Augur, so we have 4 copies of Evolving Wilds and 2 copies of Trophy Mage to shuffle our deck. So if we put some unwanted cards back on top of our deck with Augur, we can shuffle them away. We also have 2 copies of Omenspeaker that can scry unwanted cards back to the bottom, as well as 2 copies of Seekers Squire, so we can maybe put a land on top with the Augur and then draw it with the Seekers Squire to get a little bit of card advantage that way as well. And then of course the 4 copies of Liliana's Contract, which does also let us draw 4 cards, so it's going to be pretty useful at setting up our combo kill. Then the mana base is pretty straightforward. We have the 4 copies of Evolving Wilds that I've already mentioned, along with 4 basic islands and 5 basic swamps which we can fetch. Then we have 4 Fetid Pools, which enters the battlefield tapped, but we can cycle it for 2 mana if we're flooding out a bit. 4 copies of Drowned Catacomb, which enters the battlefield untapped if we control an island or a swamp, and of course Fetid Pools counts as both. And 4 copies of Aether Hub, which provides 1 energy when it enters the battlefield, so combines nicely with our Glint-Sleeve Siphoners and our Aethersphere Harvester as well. Then going over the sideboard, we have 2 copies of Deadeye Tracker to deal with opposing graveyard decks, 2 copies of Duress against control decks, 2 copies of Fungal Infection to get rid of 1 toughness creatures from the opponent, as well as making a 1/1 Sampling token, so still works nicely with our Liliana's Contract. We have 2 copies of Negate against control decks to counter non-creature spells, 2 copies of Plague Mare against decks with a lot of 1 toughness creatures, an additional copy of Aethersphere Harvester against aggro decks, 2 copies of Gonti, Lord of Luxury, which shines against control decks and combo decks, and 2 copies of the Immortal Sun, which is also great in our deck full of creatures, providing an Anthem effect and letting us draw additional cards every turn, and we're not playing any Planeswalkers ourselves, so it's pure upside. So that's the deck. Now let's jump into some games and see how the deck does. Alright, we're on the play, and this hand seems acceptable. Even have the Evolving Wilds to go with Augur. Let's lead with the tapped Fetid Pools, say go. And then turn to Seekers Squire or Dusk Legion Zealot. Alright, against a Leonin Vanguard. I guess Seekers Squire matches up quite well. So some sort of white aggro deck. I guess I could go 1-drop into 1-drop, but we got a counter anyway. And Liliana's Contract. Yeah, I think I'll keep that. We do need to draw some more lands, but with Skyscanner, Augur, and Dusk Legion Zealot, I'm sure we'll get there. Alright, so let's play Zealot before playing Evolving Wilds, since we want to increase the chances of drawing a land. Alright, perfect. Play Evolving Wilds. I'm fine giving up the Evolving Wilds Augur value here, and I don't think we're interested in attacking with the Squire. Although I guess if our opponent didn't play a creature here, it's unlikely they can play 2 creatures next turn to pump the Vanguard, and I'm still fine trading Zealot for Vanguard. Suppose they could drop the Anthem effect for cats. Yep, Radiant Destiny. Alright, so maybe keeping back Squire would have been fine. But on the bright side, our opponent's not really developing their board. Vanguard does get in. And this Hostage Taker's looking quite good as well. But I don't think we want to waste it on a Vanguard. Alright, let's just play Augur, and now we have a second Evolving Wilds to go with it. And alright, we have the combo assembled, which should be pretty good against a cat deck with not a ton of removal, presumably. So I'll put Omenspeaker and then followed by Catacomb. Say go. And then we'll draw the Catacomb, and then we have the option of fetching with Evolving Wilds, playing a 4-drop, or playing the untapped land, playing Contract. And I guess I'm okay drawing into Omenspeaker, so that's probably fine. Alright, there's a Pride Sovereign. That's a pretty good target for the Hostage Taker. So I think I'm fine taking the Pride Sovereign hostage and then fetching away the Omenspeaker. And again, I'm not too interested in attacking here, even though we might be able to sneak in a few points. Alright, Thopter Rest on the Hostage Taker, get back their Pride Sovereign, that's acceptable. They still can't activate it this turn cycle, and we're just trying to buy time here. So I think we just play the Contract here, draw some cards, and play Evolving Wilds. Another Hostage Taker's nice. So a card we're going to struggle beating is a main deck Ixalan's Binding, since that's going to shut down our combo and we don't have any way of getting rid of it, so hopefully that doesn't happen. And Jani's Pridemate. Opponent can now gain a life with the Vanguard and attack for a bunch. I think I still like our chances if our opponent doesn't have any enchantment-based removal for our creatures or enchantments. And we could throw a chum block in front of the Pride Sovereign here, although I guess that would delay our win with adaptation. Taking 8 is a bit risky too, since we still have to survive a turn cycle with 4 creatures in play. So I think I'm fine putting a chum blocker in front of it. And I guess we could also double block Vanguard, but then we give up 1 more creature. I think this is fine. Untap. So we can Hostage Taker on Pride Sovereign and play it. I think that's better than trying to go for the adaptation right away, since we won't have enough creatures in play anyway. And then we even have Aether Hubs to activate Pride Sovereign. We could even name Arcane Adaptation on Cat to make this Pride Sovereign huge. It's actually pretty funny. Maybe I should have traded last turn for the Vanguard. Maybe it's a bit ambitious to keep taking the damage. Alright, another Pride Sovereign. Their creatures now have Vigilance. Alright, we should have made this block last turn, but I'll make it now. And then Pride Sovereign also provides quite a few blockers. So I think we're actually fine just playing Arcane Adaptation. We do have to keep in mind that the tokens have the same name, so we can only count one of them towards the contract, but that's still fine. So let's Skyscanner first, see what we draw. Alright, Augur. Let's play Adaptation. I think naming Demon. And then say go. Try to get these chum blockers from the Pride Sovereign to keep us alive. And hope they don't interact with our stuff. A Jani's fine. Doesn't interact in any way, shape or form. And with only 1 mana, I doubt our opponent can still interact with us. So our opponent gets some giant kitties, that's fine. We'll just make some chum blockers with Pride Sovereign. And then untap and win with our combo. And there we go. Sweet. Alright, on to game 2 against the Green-White Cats. So, do we want to bring in Plague Mare? Doesn't kill any of their 1 toughness creatures if they have an Anthem effect out, so I don't think it's great. Same with Fungal Infection. Gonti is the only real consideration here. I don't think we want Immortal Sun. Suppose we might need a plan B in case they have Ixalan's Binding, but I'm gonna hope they don't have it. And what do we take out? Guess we just shave one of our weaker creatures here. Swooper and Pioneer, since I think all the 4-drops are pretty important in this matchup. Alright, so this hand is pretty slow. No combo pieces to tap lands. I think this is a mulligan. Alright, I guess I'll keep, but I'm not happy about it. And bottom the land. More lands. I think we want to keep the Fetid Pools to cycle. Let's get a swamp. Turn 2 Pridemates. Another land to draw. Alright, let's try to hit a spell. Yikes. Well, we've bottomed the land and we've drawn 3 lands essentially. Second Pridemate, can't even block it. Alright, Dusk Legion Zealot's okay. There's no 1-drop we can draw into, so I don't mind sacking Evolving Wilds and then playing Zealot to reduce the chances of drawing into another land. Alright. That plan isn't really panning out this game. Alright, Radiant Destiny is also pretty bad for us, since now they can still get in there. Alright, so it's gonna take something special to still win this game. And an Aether Swooper's not gonna do it. So let's cycle. Alright, there's a contract, so take 6, then contract puts us to 1 life, and we're in Shumblock mode. I mean, I guess right now we can still make some okay trades, trading a Zealot and a Squire for a Pridemate, unless they have a Jani. It's not even that our opponent had a super impressive start. They didn't even have any life gain to go with the Pridemates. It's more that we just didn't do much. Alright, so I think we have to chum block at least 1 Pridemate here. Alright, so can we afford to play Contract? And we're in double chump block mode, dead to any removal spell. But I think that still gives us the best chance, since playing Champion of Wits with Ajani in play is not even gonna let us block. Discard a land. And looks like they have the removal spell here. Or a Regal Caracal, it's also pretty good. I guess we're technically not dead yet, but those creatures now also have lifelinks that are gonna be enormous. Alright, so there's no draw that can get us out of this, but we'll play it out. Alright, Chupacabra would have been nice a couple of turns ago. So yeah, let's just say go. Take our beating and go to game 3. Radiant Destiny. Alright, so that's gonna do it. On to game 3, do we change anything? Don't think so. Would like to be on the play. And this hand's acceptable, it's slow, but we do have a lot of 2-drops we can draw into. Get a swamp here. Alright, turn 1 Authority of the Consuls. That's not a card I would have expected, so I don't really mind seeing it. Suppose it does gain them life with the Pridemate if we play creatures. Sacred Cat, that's fine. Alright, so our opponent with a pretty weak start, so we might have a chance. Let's Trophy Mage for... I think we get Harvester, just to get some more life gain going, since we already have the contract to draw cards with, and Augur. And we can always shuffle after we brainstorm with the Trophy Mage. Alright, there's a Pride Sovereign, now that's a scary card. Alright, so we could play the Harvester here and potentially block the Sovereign. I think that's better than trying to play Augur. Just have to try and preserve our life total as much as possible. And then next turn we might be able to drop Contract, get something going, try to find a removal spell for the Sovereign. If our opponent can play 2 cats, then Sovereign can attack past the Harvester. Alright, Sacred Cat in 2. Thopter Arrest, can just get rid of the Harvester altogether. Alright, so I guess we're taking 4. Alright, let's hope the opponent's leftovers aren't too impressive, since right now the only card that's an issue is the Pride Sovereign, can deal with Sacred Cats, and the Authority doesn't bother me too much. Alright, there's Gonti. I think we have to prioritize Gonti over Contract, since with the Authority it's gonna take a turn before this starts doing anything. And again, trying to prioritize preserving our life total. And we might also find an opposing Thopter Arrest that we can put to good use. Alright, instead of Sacred Cat or Ajani, I think we take Sacred Cat actually, since we can play it this turn. Although I guess if we block with it, our opponent gets it in their graveyard, which is pretty bad. But Ajani does nothing for us, so I'll take a Sacred Cat, and then I might as well play it. Don't necessarily have to block with it right away, but it's a nice chump blocker for the future. 4 mana for Ajani. Alright, that can make their Sacred Cats big enough to attack past our Trophy Mage. I think I'm still fine blocking. We could take it, kill Ajani, but that's not really a realistic plan. Alright, Arcane Adaptation, so we do have the combo. So now the question is, can we assemble the combo before we're dead? That's gonna be a little trickier, so we could go Trophy Mage plus Skyscanner here, or we can just play the contract this turn, and then try to do something cool on the following turn. Chupacabra's decent. Triple Arcane Adaptation's a bit overkill. Would have liked to find a land. Alright, Vanguard's fine. So definitely blocking the Sovereign should it attack. Might stay back and make some cat tokens instead. Yeah, if our opponent goes wide here, we might also be in trouble. And despite Authority not necessarily being great in this matchup, it does prove to be pretty annoying here, since we can't block right away. Just Sacred Cat getting in there, so going to 2 is pretty sketchy if our opponent's gonna make a bunch of tokens. So I think we just jump here. Keep Gonti as a better blocker. Suppose our opponent now gets to make an extra Sacred Cat out of the graveyard. But they don't have enough white mana to both exert and get back Sacred Cat, so that's fine. Alright, we do have Chupacabra, but the Sovereign's exerted now, so it's not really necessary to play Chupacabra right now just to kill the Pride Sovereign. Of course, it's still nice to be able to kill something else. Yeah, the way it is now, I don't think we can win with the combo, since we're going to be chump blocking the turn we have our combo set up. Does that mean we have to Riverwise Augur to draw into something? What are we trying to draw into is a question. I think we Trophy Mage plus Chupacabra here. Maybe should have brought in the second Harvester. So let's Chupacabra and can kill the Sacred Cat, but then they get to embalm it. I guess that's still fine. Plague Mare also looks pretty decent right about now, but any Anthem effects kind of undoes that. Ajani pluses. We're forced to block here. And we have to block the 3-power creature. Suppose we can block the Vanguard. Alright, another Chupacabra is what we needed, but it's still not going to be enough. Yeah, we can Skyscanner Chupacabra, but then we still only have 2 blockers and we're at 1 life. So yeah, the Plague Mare might have been able to save us for a turn, but then we would have still been in chump block mode. And Ajani's also about to ultimate. Alright, it's a shame. We did have all the combo pieces, just needed a little bit more time. So let's Chupacabra. Kill Pride Sovereign. Play a Skyscanner. And say go. Ajani's Pridemate. Ajani keeps plussing. And all the tokens get in there. Alright, sweet. On to the next one. Alright, we're on the play. And this hand seems okay. Play a Fetid Pools, say go. And then we have a turn 2 Zealot, turn 3 Skyscanner, which is gonna let us draw a lot of extra cards. Up against blue-white. Could be control deck. Think we still lead with the Skyscanner over the Freebooter just to be more mana efficient. Alright, Trophy Mage not bad. Can find another Skyscanner. Keep that chain going. Ooh, Riverwise Augur 2. Let's attack for 2. And play a Trophy Mage, I think. Although it would be more mana efficient to go Augur into Trophy Mage plus Freebooter. So maybe that's still better. Sure. Get Supreme Willed, that's fine. Alright, let's get in there. Play a Freebooter. And they've got quite a hand. No 5th land, but Azcanta, Glimmer, Negate, Seal Away, Settle, Teferi. So we don't really care about Negate yet, Seal Away doesn't matter too much. So here, Glimmer, Search and Teferi are the most problematic cards for the moment. By taking Glimmer we kind of negate their entire turn, which is pretty tempting. And we make it less likely that they find a 5th land for Teferi. So I don't hate taking Glimmer here. And then we can still play a Trophy Mage. And I think we go for Skyscanner over Harvester, although Harvester is also okay. But the problem is that the Harvester gets negated. So I'll go for the Skyscanner. We could also hostage taker our own Skyscanner just to draw an extra card. That's pretty interesting. Opponent just says go with 4 mana up. So I think we're fine attacking with everyone except for Freebooter, and we're happy if they settle us, since we can always use more mana. Alright, opponent obliges. And now we can Skyscanner, see what we draw. Ooh, Siphoner's a nice one. And I think we hold on to the Fetid Pools to cycle it. Alright, there's the Azcanta. Draw a card from Siphoner. Adaptation, not the most impactful card here, but that's okay. Let's play Adaptation. Name Demon. I think we attack with everyone. Since they either seal away the Freebooter or the Siphoner, they're both pretty valuable targets. They go for the Siphoner. And then we'll play Hostage Taker. Exile Skyscanner. Could also go for Freebooter, but I think we're fine going for the Skyscanner. And then we can cycle Fetid Pools end of turn. Exiling Freebooter and replaying it would let us maybe take it to Ferry here, which would be a pretty interesting play. Alright, so end of turn, let's cycle. Alright, there's a contract. So now we were just waiting for the opponent to tap out essentially. Let's play a Skyscanner. Champion of Wits is nice, so don't mind attacking with both. And if they settle again, we can play the contract, which is pretty important. They take it, so let's Champion of Wits. Don't want to run contract into Negate. Is this a Syncopate? Yep. Alright, that's unfortunate. And let's play the Evolving Wilds. Say go. So our opponent still has the Ferry and Negate in hand that we know of. And there's a Seal Away. Targeting the Freebooter. We'll fetch. Alright, Augur's nice. Now I'm regretting that we fetched, but I guess we wouldn't have drawn it had we not fetched, so... yeah, let's attack, play Augur, see what we can find. I guess our opponent can always Teferi minus one of our enchantments to prevent us from winning. Alright, so double contract is nice, so let's put back Chupacabra and Adaptation. And I think we Omenspeaker, and then next turn we can double contract. And then bottom both. And end of turn we can cycle the Fetid Pools. So I don't hate our spot. Fumigate would be pretty annoying here, but then we do have a window to resolve these contracts, which are going to be pretty important. Alright, end of turn cycle. I don't mind main phasing a contract here, since if they negate then they won't have settle mana. So there's a negate. Now we can attack with everyone. And cast another contract and hope this one resolves. Alright, it does. Not the best set of draws, but that's fine. Play Evolving Wilds, say go. And then technically, if our opponent doesn't do anything, we would win on our upkeep, but we know they have Teferi, so they could always minus a creature or one of the enchantments. But I guess they're also at 1 life, so I guess Fumigate's the more obvious solution for their problem here. And our opponent scoops it up. Alright, I'm gonna chalk this one up as a win with the combo. So how do we want to sideboard against control? We'll bring in the negates. Gonti. I don't mind Immortal Sun. The Duresses are also pretty decent. Then Chupacabra and Hostage Taker are pretty bad. The low impact creatures like Aether Swooper and the Aviation Pioneer are pretty bad, although they do combine nicely with the Immortal Sun. And I think we can cut some number of Arcane Adaptation, just because I think it's going to be difficult to pull off the combo through all their counter spells. And then I don't mind shaving like 1 Swooper and 1 Pioneer. So the idea after sideboard is that we can also win the fair way by landing Immortal Sun. Alright, this hand seems acceptable. Looking for lands here. Seekers Squire plus Catacomb is kind of a combo, so we can go top the land and then put the Squire on top of that. And then next turn we can explore into the land. So let's attack for 1. And I'm fine Duressing here just to be mana efficient, since we do have still double Freebooter to interact. Alright, their hand is Glimmer, Glimmer, Negate. So if we take a Glimmer here, then next turn we can play Freebooter, and they will probably cast the other Glimmer response, but then we can take whatever they draw into. So don't hate taking a Glimmer here, since Negate lines up pretty poorly against Freebooter. So our hope is that they won't be able to line it up with Contract. Alright, our own Negates is also pretty interesting here. So let's attack for 2. And then play Freebooter. Resolves. And their hand is Glimmer, Cast Out, Negate. I think we take Cast Out. And then I'll play another Freebooter instead of keeping up Negate. and then they can cast a Glimmer if they want to, and if they don't, we just take the Glimmer. Alright, so they are gonna Glimmer, but now we get to take whatever goodies they kept on top. Alright, their hands disallow, negate, seal away. I think we take the negate here actually, just because it's the cheapest counterspell and we have a lot of non-creature spells in hand. We could attack with everyone, but then they can seal away one of the freebooters, which is not desirable. So I think we just attack with Omenspeaker and Squire. And then I'll play the Harvester, but I don't think I'm gonna fight over the Harvester if they try to counter it. Alright, they let us have it. It's important to hang on to negate for a potential Fumigate or Teferi. Alright, opponent says go. There's an Aether Hub, so we're one land away from going contract plus negate. So do we want to trade this Harvester for a potential seal away? Don't think we do. So I think I'm going to keep pinging in for 2 here, hoping they haven't drawn another Glimmer they can make use of end of turn. Suppose they could sacrifice Memorial, but that's it. Let's play Aether Hub and say go. Opponent does sacrifice a Memorial here. That's okay. That leaves them with 2 pretty painful blue sources. Alright, there's a Glacial Fortress though. Alright, there's a land, so now we can contract plus negate. So I don't hate getting in there with the Harvester now to try and set up this play. So if they seal away the Harvester, then they only can keep up Disallow as far as counter spells are concerned. So had we taken Disallow instead of negate, they could have potentially had double negate here to fight over this, or like negate plus syncopate. And I think it's more important to resolve the contract than it is to protect the Harvester. So get in for 1. Play contract. Opponent's gonna probably disallow, and then we can negate hopefully. Alright, opponent did draw into a negate, so if they also have a syncopate or another negate, we're in trouble, but this is the best we can do. Alright, looks like it's gonna resolve. So the decision to take the negate over disallow definitely paid off, and Omenspeaker plus Trophy Mage is not the worst. Now a Fumigate would be pretty painful. Instead they cycle farmland, maybe digging for Fumigate, but they don't have it. That's a lot of Evolving Wilds. So do we respect the Settle the Wreckage here, or do we just send everyone? Sending everyone's a bit ambitious. I think we'll attack with Squire and Omenspeaker for now. And then we'll play Trophy Mage. Get a Skyscanner. And I think we keep Skyscanner and Omenspeaker in hand for now to play around potential Fumigate, since I don't want to overextend too much here, since otherwise we don't have a ton of things going on. Opponent cycles Supreme Will, so we know they still have a Disallow in hand, and cycle Farmland. Alright, opponent's doing a lot of digging. They probably found a Fumigate by now. Instead another Supreme Will. End of turn, fetch an island. Alright, I think we attack with our non-freebooter creatures. Settle is fine. So I think we sack Evolving Wilds first, and then we can Omenspeaker. And yep, Augur is great. So we don't have enough mana to play a Skyscanner into Augur, but that's okay. So we'll play Skyscanner into Aether Swooper here. Try to keep up the pressure. And hope to keep dodging a Fumigate. Alright, set the Teferi instead. Teferi pluses. Alright, another contract is pretty spicy. So I think we start by attacking, and do we attack the Teferi or our opponent? Opponent is at 9. But with all the cards they draw, I'm sure they'll be able to survive this onslaught from our 1-power creatures. So let's attack the Teferi first, and we'll make a token. Maybe at this point we should be attacking with the freebooters. Let's play the Augur. Alright, opponent lets it resolve. Alright, those are some cards. And then try to play another contract, which I'm sure opponent will want to disallow. Nope, they don't. I don't think we want to overextend with the Siphoner, so I'll just play Evolving Wilds, say go. Teferi pluses, and this looks like the Fumigate. Yep, alright, so glad we didn't play the Siphoner at least. So they get back their cast out, they get back their negate, and they still have a disallow in hand. And our opponent's all the way back up to 16. Let's fetch. Don't think we have many basics left. Maybe just a 1. Yep. Alright, so this is where the blue-white control deck starts taking over. There's the adaptation a few turns late, but we did of course board a few out. So let's play Siphoner. Play another Siphoner. Cycle Fetid Pools. Play a land. And I think we give him the Arcane Adaptation, which they'll negate, that's fine. So we have 1 adaptation left in case we want to win with the combo, but winning with the combo is going to be tricky. The Fairy pluses. We also still have our Immortal Sun in the deck, although they do have the cast out in hand. Alright, let's draw 2 cards. Alright, another Augur. So let's attack the Fairy for 4. Maybe I should have played the Augur main phase in case of a Settled Wreckage. Yep, since then I could have shuffled using the Settled Wreckage essentially as our shuffle effect. Alright, so opponent kind of ran us out of resources here. Let's play another Augur. Alright, there's Immortal Sun. Put back 2 lands. Play a Champion of Wits. Play Pioneer. And then next turn we can try and force Immortal Sun plus Contract. Suppose I should cycle this main phase. And opponent's gonna start milling us out. We definitely drew a lot of cards this game, so opponent's on the mill plan. Fair enough. I mean, I guess blue-white control's always on the mill plan, since we haven't seen any creatures from the opponent, and 4 Apenu Rivulets is a pretty big statement that they're trying to win the game that way, which is maybe why they were so happy to let us draw all those cards. So our opponent can just triple activate Rivulets and we're dead. Opponent does get to take a look at our deck by milling us, so they see the Gonti, the other contract gone. So can we still win? I don't think so. Opponent just end of turn double activates Rivulet and we're dead. And I guess they already got to see the Immortal Sun, so that's no longer going to be a surprise. Alright, so let's attack. Go after the opponent's life total at this point. There's Rivulets, 3 cards left, and another Rivulet activation. Alright, that's gonna do it. So we did almost draw our entire deck with a little help from our opponent casting Settled Wreckage. Is there anything we can really do about that? Not really. Just have to hope to apply enough early pressure where they can't try and set up Fumigate, or we can negate the Fumigate or duress it. I think I'll bring back 1 Arcane Adaptation to be able to combo more reliably, since it does kind of play well against an opposing Settled Wreckage. And then I guess we can cut an Omenspeaker. Something that could change the texture of the game is Gonti as well, and the resolved Immortal Sun could also do a lot of work. Alright, we'll be on the play, and this hand's acceptable. Do also have to keep our clock in mind, so we'll have to play at a pretty fast pace. And I'm just gonna jam the Siphoner on 2, try to ride it to victory. Draw a card. Alright, those are some good draws. I think we'll play Freebooter. Try and snipe a seal away. It's gonna get Acid Scattered, that's fine. Attack for 2. And next turn we can maybe drop Gonti, or we can go Seekers Squire plus Omenspeaker. Let's attack first. And then I think we go for the Omenspeaker plus Seekers Squire combo, which plays a bit better against a potential counterspell instead of just playing the 1 Gonti. Alright, bottom this, keep Aether Hub on top, which also goes nicely with our Siphoner. Play Seekers Squire, say go. Opponent with Seal Away on the Siphoner. Alright, double Gonti is nice. Let's play Gonti. Get Syncopated. And play Evolving Wilds. And we'll fetch for a Swamp. Alright, the rest is nice, so let's get in for 2. Doubt our opponent's going to fire off a Settled Wreckage on 2 1-power creatures. And then I'll duress into Gonti here. Alright, their hand is Settle, Glimmer, Disallow, Supreme Will, so they've got 2 counters for Gonti anyway. So I guess then we'll take the Glimmer and then play a Skyscanner. And say go. Next turn we can go Trophy Mage Skyscanner or Trophy Mage into a Harvester. Alright, opponent drew a Fumigate. So I guess we get to Gonti plus Siphoner, which is pretty decent. And take a Regal Caracal, that seems good. Play Siphoner. Say go. So our opponent has 2 counterspells in hand that we know of. Won't be attacking with the Siphoner since we can draw some more cards from it. Ooh, Negate. Alright. Might be doing it. So I think for now we attack with Gonti. Play Trophy Mage. You get probably our vehicle, since it also fuels our Siphoner. And I'm fine if this gets countered. So they might use the Supreme Will here. They don't. So next turn we can Caracal plus Negate. It's pretty decent. Opponent cycle Supreme Will. So they still have Disallow plus Settle the Wreckage in hand. Alright, Freebooter is excellent too. Resolves. And they have Cast Out, Settle, Disallow. They don't have enough mana to cast both 4 mana spells. So I think we take the Settle. And then we'll crew. And attack. Alright, I think we just say go with Negate up. Tapping out for Caracal is a bit risky in the face of a potential Fumigate. Opponent can cast out the Freebooter end of turn here to get back their Settle. And we can't really fight over it since they can always disallow here. So now we'll have to play it a bit slow since we don't want to run into the Settle. So end of turn we'll fetch for a blue source, I guess. Untap, draw with Siphoner. Alright, I mean we can just attack with Trophy Mage and Gonti here. There's a Settle. Can trade Negate for Disallow here essentially, but I think I'm fine letting this resolve. Get 2 more lands. Play a Zealot. Play Augur. Keep up Negate. Alright. And then we can shuffle with the Evolving Wilds, still draw with Fetid Pools end of turn as well. So this works out pretty well. And we still have the Caracal just in case. Alright, opponent has 1 unknown plus Disallow. So let's try and play the Caracal. Gets disallowed, so now we should have lethal. And their last card was Settle. And that's game. Oof, that was a close one against Blue-White Control. On to the next one. And yep, this seems like a keep. Can go tapped Catacomb into Aether Hub plus Siphoner. It's a pretty exciting start. And then lots of 2-drops to help us smooth out our draw, make sure we keep hitting our land drops. And I'm fine running this into a potential Fatal Push since the upside's so high. No Fatal Push, that's good. Blue-black. With a turn 2 Black Blade Reforged, alright, some sort of legendary themed deck. Definitely drawing a card. Hostage Taker lines up pretty well against the equipment. Alright, and those are 2 good draws. We could Harvester here, draw a card with a Siphoner once again on our next turn, or we could play Evolving Wilds into Freebooter or Evolving Wilds into Omenspeaker. I think I like taking a look at the opponent's hand to know what's up. Alright, so it's some sort of Antiquities War deck, Desert's Touch, Reverse Engineer. So I think we let them keep the Desert's Touch, since if they enchant Black Blade then we have Hostage Taker. So I think we take the Antiquities, play Evolving Wilds, say go. Play Evolving Wilds, attack for 2. And this is gonna fetch an island, might as well do it now. And yeah, we're hoping our opponent plays the Desert's Touch on the Black Blade. Yep, they're going for it. Perfect. So this Hostage Taker is gonna be great. And we get to play it before Padim comes into play, which is also important. Alright, let's see how our opponent recovers. There's Padim, doesn't draw them any cards quite yet. Alright, never mind. So, I guess we can just play Harvester, which will be the largest artifact in play. Alright, I guess we just play Zealots into Harvester. We could attack, but our opponent has good blocks and I don't want to waste any time. And getting in for a few extra points of damage is probably not going to matter, since it looks like we're going to be able to set up our combo pretty soon here. Alright, this is a Reverse Engineer. Fair enough. Definitely drawing a card over prioritizing the life gain here. Alright, there we go, perfect. So let's jam this contract. And suppose we can get in for 2 with the Siphoner, since we're not blocking with it. Important to note is that the Harvester and the contract aren't really a combo, since you can't crew the Harvester before the trigger goes on the stack, and the trigger only goes on the stack if you have 4 creatures in play on your upkeep. So let's ditch Zealots, Skyscanner, say go. So next turn we get to drop Adaptation, and the turn after we should be able to get there. So more than happy to throw Harvester under the bus if your opponent plays another Tezzeret's Touch. Instead it's a Black Blade Reforged and a Tezzeret the Schemer. Alright, fair enough. So they can take out Kitesail Freebooter. That's fine, we'll have plenty of creatures to play here alongside our Adaptation. I guess Tezzeret's a little annoying here, since it can still take out an additional creature, so we might have to wait 1 turn on the Adaptation just to make sure to set it up properly. Can attack with the Harvester, opponent just chump blocks with Ornithopter, that's fine. So right, here I think we go Freebooter. Check out the opponent's hand, maybe Sniper Removal Spell. And their hand is Battle at the Bridge, Reverse Engineer, Antiquity, so let's take Battle at the Bridge. And then we can crew Harvester using Dusk Legion Zealots. Want to make sure to keep a flyer back in case they suit up the Ornithopter. And then we'll attack Tezzeret with Harvester. Yeah, the issue here is, had we attacked with Siphoner and Harvester, then they double block Siphoner, and we won't have the 4 creatures to go with the Adaptation. So yeah, we can't go for the win this turn, so we'll have to play it slow. So I think we just play Pioneer, make sure we have plenty of creatures in play for next turn. But next turn we should be able to go Adaptation into another creature and ensure the win. So there's Antiquities, that's fine. Finds a Mox Amber, that's a good one. Tezzeret kills Freebooter, get back Battle at the Bridge, which can kill something else. Kills the Siphoner, alright, that's fine. Opponent's empty-handed now. And we should be able to go Adaptation plus creature to seal the deal. So let's just attack Tezzeret with Orthopter to get it out of here. And then go Adaptation. Name Demon. Into Seekers Squire. And that does it. Awesome. So managed to get game 1 against blue-black artifacts. How do we want to sideboard? Negate could be okay, but we're not a deck that can easily keep up Negate against those types of decks. It's probably better than like a Swooper and Pioneer. Those are usually the cards I take out. Although against a removal heavy deck, having those creatures that make multiple bodies can be useful. This hand doesn't seem keepable with only 1 land. Alright, I can get behind this one. Don't need a second contract. Alright, so we've got our 2 combo pieces. Just need to draw lands and creatures. And hope the opponent doesn't have Duresses or Negates. Alright, no turn 2 play, that's good. Let's play Zealots. Siphoner's good. Master Thopterist is gonna be somewhat problematic. But we get to go Siphoner plus Evolving Wilds. Kinda regretting not playing the Aether Hub earlier. Or we can just go Swooper plus Evolving Wilds. But I kinda want the opponent to use their turn killing the Siphoner instead of developing their own game plan. I think we'll go Siphoner plus Evolving Wilds here. Alright, nothing from the opponents. That's surprising. Don't think they will be able to play any artifacts at instant speed. Some fine attacking with the Siphoner. Play Aether Hub now, and I think we play Augur. Try and find some interaction like Hostage Taker, Chupacabra. So we can shuffle away using Evolving Wilds, but I don't mind having these lands, honestly. So we'll go Swamp, Evolving Wilds. Maybe should have actually put the Contract on top of our deck to play around the Duress effect. Alright, there's a Black Blade Reforged, and our opponents could equip onto their Sai right away. They do. 6 power. I think we take it for now. Chum block later when he's going to be a little larger. And draw a card. Alright, so we can play Contract right now, or we can set up a little bit more with Trophy Mage and Swooper. So we'll play Aether Hub, play Contract. Alright, probably fine to attack with the Siphoner still. With 1 black mana, the opponent's gonna have a hard time killing both our creatures. And we'll discard Evolving Wilds and Adaptation. Alright, Desert's Touch is an issue. Definitely chumping down to 3. We do have Swooper and Skyscanner that can block. Might as well go to 2. Doesn't really make a difference. What's our plan here? We could also Trophy Mage for Aethersphere Harvester, but that doesn't do a ton for us here. Don't think we can afford to keep up Negate, so I think we just have to play both flyers. Get to energy, say go. And sure, we'll attack with the Siphoner, why not? Alright, so we're in a bit of a precarious spot having to double chum block every turn, so it's going to be difficult to keep that up for much longer. And a Traxos into another Desert's Touch, so now we can't even attack with our Aether Swooper to make a servo token to chum block with. So yeah, I think we're dead now, unless we can top deck a running Hostage Takers and Chupacabras. So again, we were pretty close to setting up the combo. Opponent just a little bit too fast. Yeah, and that's not gonna do it. Suppose we can Trophy Mage for Harvester, but then we're still gonna be dead. Guess we'll give it a shot. Or I guess Skyscanner is good too. So I'll play the Skyscanner. Yeah, if Liliana's Contract happened at the beginning of our end step, it would be a much better card. But having to survive that 1 extra turn often makes a difference. Alright, so we did draw Hostage Taker at least, so if we can survive this turn, then we might be able to do something next turn. Since our opponent was unable to untap Traxos, if they were able to untap Traxos, then I think we were dead. Alright, so have to chump, chump, chump. I will not draw a card. So stealing a Thopter still leaves us dead to the other one. And we don't have enough mana to steal the Black Blade, play and equip it. And it's not like we were close to killing our opponent here. So yeah, I think we're just dead here. Suppose we'll play it out. Alright, Navigator's Compass, untapping Traxos is gonna do it. So while the negates would have been okay in theory, felt like we just weren't able to keep up the mana. Maybe if we're on the play, it's gonna be easier to keep up negate. So it might still be a reasonable inclusion, but the flyers are also pretty valuable if our opponent goes on the Desert's Touch plan. Fungal Infection on a Thopter token in response to the Desert's Touch is nice, but it doesn't work against an Ornithopter. Gonti could be okay against Traxos, but also not amazing. Yeah, I think we cut the negates, try to be a little bit more proactive. Would like to be on the play. This hand's not amazing, but probably still keepable. Freebooter can do a lot of work. And I think we hang on to the Fetid Pools. Turn 1 map into Mox Amber and an Ornithopter, so their opponent unloading their hand. Probably means they don't have a Sai in hand, so I don't mind checking out their hand here with the Freebooter. Wow. Battle at the bridge and Imbolas's Clutches, so Clutches at 6 mana is going to be an issue, but that's pretty far away, so I'd rather just take Battle at the bridge. since that kills the Freebooter. Of course, I do have the Mox Amber to go with Traxos, which is 1 extra mana for the clutches, but I think we just have to take the bridge, say go, and then hope that our opponent can't untap Traxos right away. Let's play the Zealots, play Evolving Wilds, get a Swamp, say go. Next turn we can cycle some Fetid Pools at least. Alright, Aether Swooper is okay, so we can attack with both. Suppose we should cycle before playing Swooper in case we draw something better. Alright, if we just draw Liliana's Contract here, we're in business. There's Traxos, so I guess they're 1 land away from Imbolos's clutches, and Traxos is untapped and ready. Alright, let's cycle. Let's attack with the Swooper while we still can, and make a servo. I think I do play Adaptation, I'm fine if they clutches it. Alright, instead it's a Psy, Master Thopterist. Traxos rumbles in for 7. Alright, time to draw something relevant. Ornithopter to untap Traxos as well. So their last card is Clutches. Alright, more Fetid Pools. Play our Demon Seekers Squire. And do we want to keep a Zealot? Just costs us 1 life essentially, and 2 mana. So I don't think we keep it. Alright, let's say go. So it's unclear whether Liliana's Contract would even be good enough here, since we still have to deal with the Traxos. So our best draw is probably Hostage Taker or Chupacabra. Right, Antiquities is also gonna kill us in 2 turns. So yeah, we have to draw something right now. Compass to untap Traxos. Alright, there's a Chupacabra. That's what I've asked for. So now we still need to deal with the Antiquities and we need to find our contract. Luckily we have Swooper and Freebooter to hold back the Thopters, otherwise we wouldn't be able to play the contract if we draw it. Antiquities misses, and a Fountain of Renewal makes an extra Thopter, and next turn this Antiquities is gonna be a bad time, and wow, we drew the contract. So yeah, if this was templated at the beginning of our end step, we would have been able to win here. I guess our opponent could still have a counterspell. I guess we'll find out. Alright, they're drawing a card with Psy. And our opponent scoops it up. Alright, guess our opponent didn't read contract properly. Okay, so we would have lost here to the Antiquities making all creatures into 5/5s, but I guess I'll take it. Alright, I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this gameplay, and as always, have a nice day. I also want to thank all my patrons for supporting the channel, and you can do so yourself as well over at patreon.com/LegenVD, where you get cool rewards for supporting the channel, as well as getting us closer to our goals, where with every goal reached, we will release an additional weekly series. So if you want to see more content, Patreon is the place to go.